people keep coming up with excuses. They say, I don't know how to paint, that's why I'm not an artist. I don't know how to write, that's why I haven't become an author. I don't know how to play music, that's why I haven't started my band, and I don't know how to buy properties, that's why I'm not financially free. But I believe that they've got that the wrong way round. You're not born a writer. You're not born with talent. J.K. Rowling and Dan Brown weren't born with pens and papers in their hands. Picasso wasn't born with a paintbrush. The Beetles weren't born with drum sets. They all worked towards their dreams. They followed the signs, the passion in their heart that told them that this was the right direction for them to go, and then they persevered. They kept working day in and day out for their dream that they knew was possible. There is a beautiful book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Outliers, and it explains that everyone who has done something remarkable has spent over 10,000 hours refining their craft, building mastery in that area that they love. He explains that it's not about having this worldwide view, it's about every single day having daily disciplines, working at your goal, taking the next step. How small the step is doesn't matter, it's about taking the next step, stepping up to the plate when it is required of you. Because at the end of the day, every legend in life started as an amateur. All they did was practice, take the next step until they mastered their art. Now, they get to sell their gift to the world. Therefore, it's not about being perfect or even good at something. All you need to do is take that first step and start. Follow the sign in your heart that tells you this is the right step to take. I remember at school I barely passed my language subjects. Afrikaans and English, geez, I hated both of them. I hated reading, writing, and especially comprehension, and poetry, don't even get me started. And luckily I passed, and I'm thankful that it came to an end. Now if you know my story, you know that I've written a couple of books. Not because I love language, but because I've got an imagination that is wild. I could sit for hours alone in the backyard and entertain myself with damsel in distress stories. I would have action figures and play out intricate stories with twists and love interests, and it made my time fly by. And when I got older, I decided to start putting some of these stories to paper. And as I looked at the story, I thought, maybe I could turn this into a book. Even at school, I was terrible with languages, and my teacher even told me that I could never be a writer. These stories made me believe that maybe I could. So I went to a friend of mine who had written a book, and I asked him, how do I become a writer? Because I don't know which steps to take. To my dismay, he didn't say things like, Lawrence, you have to have the right writing methodology. You have to have the right skill set. You have to plan the plot, the character development. You have to have the story, the message. He said, Lawrence, all you need to do is write. Because all that a book is just 100 little paragraphs strung together. And all that a paragraph is a few sentences that make sense. So if you want to write a book, all you have to do is just write a little bit every day. It's just like climbing a mountain, he always told me. As long as you're taking one step over the next, by the end of it, you'll see the beautiful view that was worth it. Then when he walked away, I said, man, you're supposed to help me. And he said, Lawrence, I can't help you because this is your path you have to follow. Just follow the signs. Start by writing. Put one foot in front of the other. Put one pen to paper. And eventually, if you're writing every day, the book will be yours. And I believe that we have to be the same with our dreams. We don't have to have the whole thing figured out. We don't have to have a writer's methodology. We don't have to have a framework. We don't have to have the right skill sets. We don't have to plan the plot. All we need to do is just work on our dream every single day, a little bit. And as we get a bit closer, we'll see what the next steps are and the next steps from there, and we'll be able to move forward. Now, you might be skeptical and think that it's impossible to learn anything. We can't become the master at anything. But let me prove it to you. Think about babies. When they're born, they don't know how to walk. And what happens is the parents give them encouragement. I remember watching a video of me growing up, and my dad was sitting on the floor helping me stand for the first time, and he said, come on, Lawrence, you can do this. And as a baby, I felt so empowered, and I tried, and I stood up and I fell hard on my bum. And I wanted to cry, but my dad said, no, don't worry, you're almost there, try again. And I stood up again. And I fell down, and I stood up again and again and again. And eventually I stood for 5 seconds. And I was so proud, and my dad gave me a high five. And then the next time I stood for 10 seconds and 20. And then I walked across the room. And then I ran across the room. And slowly but surely, I became able to walk. And now what's interesting is if you look around you, every single adult knows how to walk, isn't it? Why is that? I believe it's because they persevered through the hard times. They failed time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. They fell on their bum time and time and time again, but they didn't give up. They kept standing up. They kept trying. And now every single adult is successful in that area. How is that any different to wanting to become a writer, an artist, a musician, a business owner? If you keep trying, if you keep pushing, if you keep moving, if you keep on keeping on, nothing can stop you. And now this journey is not an easy one, but I can guarantee you that the view from the top, when you reach that dream that you've always pictured in your mind, it will be worth every single second. It's a nagging voice. It's more like a whisper that just kept saying to me, this can't be it. There's something more here for you to do. This cannot be it. But I suppressed that voice.